What's up, everybody? This is Strings and Sweaters. My name is Tim, and today we are going to be going over the playoff matchups, and I'll be giving you my prediction for the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm so excited. We wait all year for this time, and it is going to be here tomorrow. So let's get into our first matchup. I got my Leafs jersey on. Now, the jerseys I'll be wearing for each of these matchups will not indicate who I think is going to win. I just don't have every team, and I'm just going to wear the team I have. And some of them I don't even have. Like, I don't have a Devils or a Rangers jersey, so don't know what I'll wear for that. But got my Leafs jersey on. Doesn't necessarily mean I think the Leafs are going to beat the Lightning, but let's talk about the Lightning versus the Maple Leafs. So, the Maple Leafs have had an amazing season. Austin Matthews has had a great season again. Mitch Marner, 99 points, almost 100 points this season. Just insane productivity. This game will be in Toronto. So the Leafs already have a little bit of an advantage. But obviously, there is that looming cloud that is just over Toronto City of every year you're exiting the playoffs in the first round, and what's going on? Why are your players not showing up in the postseason? But let's talk about some things to note. First of all, the most important thing to me, the goalies, it's going to be, Vasilevsky, who is just amazing every year. Probably the best postseason goalie we've ever seen. Shesterkin is probably the only guy who kind of gives him a run for his money, but Vasilevsky is just lights out every year for the Lightning. And then you have Samsonov, and being near DC and going to tons of Capitals games last year, I got to see Samsonov in action. He's legit. He's a great goalie. Is he going to win you a game against a high-scoring offense? No, but he's way better of an option than Matt Murray is. And I think he will get the Leafs a few games in this series. The Leafs acquired O'Reilly from the Blues, which he's been a great addition to that team. So they're really bulking up for this playoff run. I see them, actually being a huge challenge for the Lightning this year. Do they win? I don't know. Let's look on the other side of the ice. We have just insanely talented offensive players. You have Stamkos, you have Kucherov, and the Lightning's game plan here is really on its defense. So they know they have the goalie, they know they have the high offensive scoring, but they also need that hard-hitting defense. And they added some guys like Ruda from the Penguins, and unfortunately, he got injured, as well as some other guys they added in the trade acquisition. But they're trying to get guys on defense who are just going to go in there and just blue collar hit people and make them really think about the next time they go into the corner of the ice or in front of the net, and kind of just try to deter the other team and wear them down. And they have guys like Lafferty for that. So that's their game plan, and that is actually a great game plan that will work well against the Leafs, because the Leafs are soft. I got to see the Capitals play the Leafs, and the Leafs play a lot of, kind of pretty hockey, very light hockey, sort of similar to the Penguins' play style. They have great goal scorers, but they don't hit too much. And the Lightning, if that's their game plan, I'm thinking that they will sort of have the advantage in home games. But let's talk about it. So the Leafs had the advantage here based on their standings. So they will be playing more home games, which gives them that advantage on the bench too, with changing lines closer for 2 periods. So this is actually going to be a pretty close one. My prediction for this matchup is going to be to the Lightning, because I think they match up better against the Leafs, but I do think the Leafs will give the Lightning a much better run for their money than last year and not just be a sweep. So I'm going to say that this game goes to 7 games. The Lightning win it in Game 7 in Toronto. But we will see. Tomorrow, Game 1, I think I actually have the Leafs winning that game. But I think the Lightning will kind of catch their stride throughout this series. But we'll check in and see what happens and what it looks like after tomorrow's game. But let's move on to our next matchup. We got the Bruins versus the Panthers. And I'm going to change jerseys real quick and be back. All right, so let's talk about our next matchup. We got the Panthers versus the Bruins. I'm very salty about this because this could have been my Penguins versus the Bruins. Not that it would have mattered. The Bruins are unstoppable this year. Really just one of the best seasons we've ever seen from a franchise. Just insane. But the Bruins are facing some injury problems going into the postseason. You don't want to see that. So we have Marchand with basically kind of like a light injury. They won't really tell us what happened, but just kind of a precaution where he's not practicing. But the worst one is we have Patrice Bergeron leaving with an upper body injury. Really bad news. Now he's probably going to come back. I know players will play on injuries in the postseason and just play through it. So he will probably be back within this series for the Panthers, but I don't expect him to play tomorrow. But I mean, really, the Bruins. I think the Bruins really their team is just stacked. Even with those guys out, they are stacked from their top line to their fourth. Their goalies are stacked. Allmark has just been insane this year, and they have great coaching. What they've been doing there has been just really incredible. And you're going up against a Panthers team that did beat them twice in the regular season. So the Panthers can beat the Bruins. They will not get home ice advantage, and the Panthers will also be sort of coming in. I wouldn't say they were hot at the end of the season, being that they lost a few games and almost allowed the Penguins to get in, even though the Penguins were just playing like trash. I'm going to stop talking about the Penguins for the rest of the video because they are not in the playoffs. But I wouldn't say the Panthers are necessarily hot. But the Panthers have Kachuk, right? And they really are going to have to pull around him and his offensive and just leadership. And I think that will be the key. This series, though, it depends really on the injuries. The Panthers don't have amazing goaltending, so I think both teams will be scoring. But I'm going to say this series will be kind of tight. I do have the Bruins winning this. I really do believe in the Bruins. I think they are just kind of that unbeatable team of the playoffs this year. Not to give any of my later playoff predictions away, but I think the Bruins will win this series. I think this series will go to, I'm going to say it'll go to 5 games. So it won't be, a full sweep, but I think the Panthers win one of these games, if not the first game, the second one, and I will say the Bruins just kind of start to light up the Panthers net, and the Panthers aren't really going to be able to respond once they get going. And I think it's just going to be par for the course that we've seen all season. The Bruins are just going to dominate. So this will be probably the one that I pay least attention to because I just think the Bruins are definitely going to get past the Panthers. But if there is an upset tomorrow, I'm going to be watching more closely. For sure, but that's all I got for now. Let me know what you think about the Bruins and the injuries. Do you think that's going to really affect the Bruins? Or, I mean, they're just so stacked. The depth's insane. So let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think the Bruins are going to have problems against the Panthers? Or do you think it's just going to be an easy sweep? Anyhow, moving on to our next matchup. I'm going to change jerseys. I'll be back in a sec. All right, I'm back. Next matchup, we have the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Islanders. And this is going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina. So let's look at this matchup. This is going to be one of the hardest decisions because these teams are so evenly matched. And this is going to be one of the more exciting series of all the series to watch. So I'll definitely be watching this one. But let's start with the Carolina Hurricanes. So they acquired Brent Burns. So this guy's old. But in the playoffs, being old is not bad. Getting through the season, having no injuries and being able to, keep your body healthy, that's where we care about age. But when you get into the playoffs, all that wisdom and being able to lead those young guys and kind of be a role model for them, that is a huge plus. So already, Carolina is looking great with Brent Burns being their leader. And then just amazing just goalie play all season from Carolina. Now, the two things about these teams that make them so similar is that they've both been amazing on the power play kill and awful on the power play. So really, penalties and stuff will not affect these teams too much. So what's going to be the real way to make this decision? What's going to be the real difference maker for these teams? Both have very high-scoring offenses. The Hurricanes have just had amazing goaltending from Ranta and Frederik Andersen, and really they'll be switching them back and forth per game depending on how they go. They'll probably go with Ranta since he's, a little bit more experienced, but I mean, really, who knows who they'll start? And then on the other side of the ice, you have the Islanders, and you have Sorokin, who has just had one of the best seasons you could have as a goalie, other than Allmark on the Bruins. But just literally having just an amazing save percentage, and so what is really going to be the difference maker in these games? And I think it's just going to come down to the leaders on the team and the offensive players. I think you have guys like Barzal coming back. You have Anders Lee, and they're gonna match up with Aho, and it's just like, this series is just so difficult to figure out where it's gonna go. Now the Canes just have looked better altogether, just defensively, and just all together a better team, more depth than the Islanders, but really, just who knows how these teams are going to match up. Some X factors for this game are 100% going to be Bo Horvat. The Islanders acquired him with the playoff run in mind, which was a great decision. They made the playoffs. He brought them to that level where they needed to be. But will he continue that, that elevation into the playoffs? I mean, he definitely has that ability. So what we will see if that trade, how much benefit they get from it, and how much is it going to come down to the Islanders stars like Barzal, and who is going to be the one to step up to get them these wins. These teams are just so evenly matched that both sides actually have a player named Sebastian Aho. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know how to make this pick. I could clearly just go with the team with the better standings and just say, yeah, the Carolina Hurricanes are going to win this, but really, who knows? I wish I could just do a skip on this one, but I got to give my prediction. So I am gonna do that. I'm gonna go with the safe pick, so I look good in the future. But we'll come back around and do a little update and see how this series goes. But I'm gonna say Carolina Hurricanes win it in 6 games. Okay, I'm back. I'm wearing a Blackhawks jersey, and I have a Blues jersey, so you'd think we'd be talking about a West Coast matchup, but we're not on the West Coast yet. We're talking about the Rangers versus the Devils. one of the other best matchups that we are going to see in this 2023 playoff. Just real quick, Jonathan Toews, R.I.P. Very sad news to hear that he's not going to be on the Blackhawks or retire. Anyhow, okay, let's get into this Rangers matchup. I think, we have the most, probably the most, exciting goalie in this matchup. You have Shesterkin. I can't even say his name. You have why can't I say his name? Igor Shesterkin. I say his name fine all the time, but apparently when the video's rolling, I can't say his name. Igor Shesterkin. Anyhow, one of the best young goalies that we have seen in recent years. This dude is lights out in the playoffs as well. I mean, the Rangers just had their way with my Penguins last year, and they're really good. But on the other side, you have the Devils, and the Devils have an amazing offense. Hughes has just been lights out this year. I actually got to see the Devils play the Penguins in person this year. I might have seen the Devils play the Capitals too. So I think I saw the Devils play live in person twice this year, and they're legit. I mean, they have a great defense, and they're really fast on offense. They have a really some fast forwards that when they get on the breakaway, they make their shots and they make you pay. And so the Devils goalie is going to be Vanacek, which again, ex-Capitals goalie. I saw Vanacek play a ton of times. He is really good when he's on and really not good when he's not on. So really that's going to be kind of the iffy thing about the Devils. And the Rangers have such great, offensive players like Fox and Panarin and Penguins. Or not Penguins. What's his name? Charlie? No, not Charlie. Zibanejad. They have Zibanejad. So I just think it's a joke. I think he looks like Charlie. Anyhow, insider joke if you know what I'm talking about. But I mean, really just the offense on the Rangers is insane. And then you have Igor Shesterkin behind it, so it's just an unstoppable force. I don't care what the standings are. The Devils have looked great this year, but I think the Rangers are going to win this series. They have it all. They have the depth. They have what it needs to take to get to the next round. I'm going Rangers in 6 games. All right, I'm back, and we are finally on the West Coast. So we're going to start with the Vegas Knights versus the Winnipeg Jets. This game will be held in Vegas. Now, I will give you a little disclaimer. I do not watch many West Coast hockey teams, so if I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, I probably don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm still going to give my predictions because we've came this far. Let's do it. Now, I definitely was very excited to see Jonathan Quick be acquired by the Vegas Knights during the trade deadline. I with my guy who's on the back of my jersey here, Robin Lehner. Love Robin Lehner, out for the season though. So they really needed someone to come in and give that extra padding, that extra goalie strength. Thompson has been great this season, but Jonathan Quick just pushed the Vegas Knights to another level. Like they're just going to be insane now. And you have Jack Eichel coming back from an injury, having an amazing season. You just have the classic Vegas Knights guys like Marchessault and just amazing offense on the Vegas Knights. They play a high caliber offense. They have always done. And I saw the Vegas Knights last postseason when they didn't make it getting a lot of hate. And I think they can use that hate and that controversy, Jack Eichel's controversy, to kind of just really light a fire in the playoffs and use that to have a chip on their shoulder. They're the chip on our shoulder team this year for sure, because I think they are counted out a little bit. Now let's look at Winnipeg. I have not watched many Winnipeg games. It's hard to watch Winnipeg games because they're always on at like starting at 10 p.m. But they have good goaltending. Vezina winner goaltender. Let me look. Hellebuck. I knew his name. I don't know why I had to look there. But Vezina winning Hellebuck in 2020. Looked great this season. Some really great defenders. They have Carter scoring, I think, 80 points this season. Really good forward. But it's the Jets, guys. Like, come on. I mean, I'm just going with the Vegas Knights. That's what my heart says. I think this is going to be an easy one, too. I'm sorry, Jets. I think the Vegas Knights win it in 4. I think this is going to be a sweep. I think Jonathan Quick is going to be on fire. He's going to be like molten lava out there. Also, those Vegas pre-game shows are going to be lit. I'm going to be watching for that, seeing the crazy LED stuff going on, the band or whatever, the crazy like Game of Thrones live action role play stuff going on the ice. So I'm going with the Vegas Knights. Let me know if you think that was a stupid guess, stupid prediction. If the Jets are really that team, let me know in the comments. Definitely planning on seeing some hate comments for this video. But anyhow, it's just my opinion, so no need to get upset. All right, let's go to our next matchup. All right, let's move on to our next matchup. We have the Oilers versus the Kings. I will admit, again, West Coast team, did not watch very many Kings games this season. In fact, I didn't even know they made the playoffs. When I saw that they made the playoffs, I was shocked because I thought they were trading away Jonathan Quick because they weren't going to make the playoffs. But here we are. Now, the Kings were basically taken out of the playoffs by the Oilers, so we have a little bit of bad blood. And the Kings are looking to get revenge on the Oilers. But let's be real, guys. McJesus is on the Oilers. Draisaitl is on the Oilers. Evander Kane is on the Oilers. Is there even going to be, a struggle here? This is just preseason for the Oilers. They're just looking to, just kind of get their feet wet, kind of get warmed up for the next matchup. I mean, basically the Oilers get a bye week here. Now, obviously, the Kings are going to have to play hard. They're going to have to be physical. They're going to have to stop Connor McDavid, if that's even possible. Probably not. Let's look at our goaltenders, though. So, for goalies, we have Campbell and we have Skinner. Both are mediocre goalies for the Oilers. And then on the other side, we have no more Jonathan Quick, as I mentioned earlier. So, we have Phoenix Copley, who is allowed 92 goals on 947 shots. Not great. Definitely, it's not going to be either team's strength for goaltending. It's really going to be an offensive battle, and the Oilers just have the ice tilted in that case. So for both these teams, we get a little bit different of a matchup. We have Fiala for the Kings, which he's looked really good, and then we have Ekholm from the Oilers, who have really kind of upped, just kind of upgraded that team a little bit, acquired some depth there. And then just the last factor we'll talk about is Evan Bouchard. He's been good, but he kind of doesn't have the physicality that you need on defense. Kind of what I'm talking about, the Kings, bringing a more physical game. They can kind of take advantage of that. Definitely just with the forecheck. But, I mean, this is sort of one where I think we can call it a wraps. I'm going Oilers in 5, just because I just think the Kings will probably pull one away. Just feeling like that might happen. But I think the Oilers will control this series and this will be a dub for them. They'll be moving on. Second to last matchup, we have the Seattle Kraken versus the Colorado Avalanche, the reigning Stanley Cup winners. This will be a very good series. Definitely will be watching this one closely. Don't know how long, though, I can talk about this matchup, being that we're just going to be going over all of the just painful players that the Penguins have given up. And I knew I said I would not talk any more about the Penguins, but Jared McCann, Tanev, I mean, why did you leave us? Well, I know why you left us, because our ownership sucks and we fired all those guys. So good on the Penguins. But anyhow, let's talk about it. McCann is having an insane series. Sorry, not series. Let me do that again. McCann has been having an insane season. Just insane. I mean, the Seattle Kraken have completely done a 180 from last season. Like, really, I mean, they kind of proved to all the Vegas Knights fans, like, look, this is how you do an expansion draft. You get your young players and you build for the future. Yeah, you're going to suck your first season, but you build up and you patiently wait. And now the time has come. I don't know if the Stanley Cup has come for the Kraken, but they build up a team where they're making the Stanley Cup playoffs in their second season as a team. What does that mean? And these are young guys. So what does that mean for the Kraken? Like, unless they really just mess things up, like the Vegas Knights have done, they might win a Stanley Cup. They actually probably are in a very good running to win the Stanley Cup in the next 5 years because they have a young core. I mean, then they picked up Burakovsky from the Avalanche. Great acquisition. And then the Avalanche, I mean, it is what it is. It's the championship hangover. You see it in every sport, and it's rough. You have guys just win the Stanley Cup, and they want more money because they're Stanley Cup champions. So, we lost Darcy Kemper, we lost Burakovsky, and Landeskog is out with an injury. So, really, this is going to rely on Nathan MacKinnon's skill. He's definitely legit. Is he the next Crosby? I don't know. But he's definitely amazing. So is Nathan MacKinnon, does he have that skill to be able to beat out the Kraken? That's where I start to kind of shake my head, because I think he has the ability to beat out other West Coast teams in the playoffs. But the Kraken are just this well-rounded team. Like, they are just this perfect kind of like style of play where everyone on the team is vibing with each other. It is really something to see. Like, this is a series to watch, like I said. Now, I was able to watch some Avalanche games this season, including the game where I forget who they were playing, but they were down literally 6-0, and they were able to come back and I think win that game in overtime. And from that game on, I thought of the Avalanche different. I really thought that they were just going to be way less of a team, because that's just what happens when you win the Stanley Cup. It's very hard to get back. But I mean, they have fight in them. They got the dog in them, as Pat McAfee would say. So I mean, the Kraken, it's just going to be scoring on all cylinders. We got my man Vince Dunn. You got Tanev. I mean, you got really good young guys who are physical players, and they will get the puck in the net. Now, the Avalanche have a really good goalie that they acquired from the Rangers. Georgiev, if that's how you pronounce it, let me know. It's kind of a Georgiev, yeah. I think that's how you pronounce it. But he's been doing really good. He has the same amount of shutouts as Allmark. The highest, tied with him for the highest amount of shutouts this season. His save percentage is really good. It's gonna be kind of that's the mismatch there, because on the other side you have Philip Grubauer, which I can't really believe that he's still with the Kraken. I know he's been doing better this season, but is Philip Grubauer really that goalie that's going to get you a Stanley Cup? I mean, he wasn't the guy. He wasn't the guy for the Capitals. Definitely not. Injury wise, we also have Cale Makar being injured on the Avalanche, so that's going to be kind of a blow to them. Hopefully, he's able to get back for the series. So it's just really, it's going to come down to scoring for these teams. I just think the depth on the Kraken gives them just more chances to score, get the puck in the back of the net for more time. I think for the Avalanche, we're really looking at that top line with Rantanen and McKinnon. So if they're not scoring, it's probably not going to be a good night for them. But really, we'll see. This could go either way. I'm going to give this one, though, to the Kraken in 5. This will be a close series, though, and one to watch. Let me know if you think the Kraken will get past the first round in their first season in the playoffs, which is just awesome to say. But let me know what you think. Or will the Avalanche spoil their first postseason for them? All right, we got one final matchup to talk about. We have the Wild versus the Dallas Stars. Now, the Stars, I have watched a lot of this season. Jason Robertson is just on a roll. Just amazing to see what he's done this year. The Stars have a very solid all-around team. On the other hand, the Wild have Marc-Andre Fleury, who can be a lights-out goalie in the playoffs. As a Penguins fan, I've seen him not be a lights-out goalie in the playoffs. It really just depends. But, there's definitely going to be they're going to be needing some goaltending help for the Wild, because I don't know if Fleury will be able to kind of carry that weight the whole series, but we shall see. But the Stars have a very high-scoring offense. They're going to have a lot of different advantages that they can use in this series. But I'm going to leave it at that. I don't watch too much of Wild games. I do watch a lot of Stars games because I follow Jason. I think his career is going to be a really awesome one, and I think what he's done this season has just been really amazing. But I'm going to give it to the Stars. That's kind of my lazy pick here, but I just seeing Fleury kind of get manhandled by the Penguins in that I think 2 weeks ago, in that one of those last games of the season where Fleury should really be kind of locking in and getting his just getting in the zone, just to see the Penguins kind of just pull him apart and tear his whole game up there. And then also kind of in the middle of the season, you saw Fleury very frustrated with his play style and just stuff going on with him mentally. I mean, I can kind of see him falling apart throughout this series, but this will be a very interesting one. If Fleury comes out and he's lights out, who knows? It could be anyone's game. But my prediction, my last prediction is gonna be Dallas Stars, and I'm gonna say they get this in 5 games. The Wild put up a fight, but Dallas Star win in 5 games. Let me know what you think. This is the end of the video. Let me know your playoff predictions. I'm actually going to post also a full playoff bracket at the end of this video just so you guys to check out, just to kind of show you what I'm thinking, and just so I have bragging rights if it does happen. But I'm not going to talk about that just because that would be a whole nother video, but you guys can check it out. And give me, if you can figure out how, just put it in the comments. Give me your full playoff bracket. If you don't want to put that in the comments, definitely check me out on Instagram. My username is Tim the Knee. And send me a DM there of your screenshotted bracket you made. I'd love to see them. Love to see what you guys are thinking. I love how people can get creative with their brackets, and I try to not let any of my biases really affect my picks. Just try to go, with a scientific approach and just look at, stats. But, you can really not be unbiased. But anyhow, thank you guys for watching. This is a long video. Please subscribe. Please like. But thank you guys so much for watching my videos. It means a lot to me. Peace out, y'all.